Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Welcome to the first episode of my collection series, where I'll be taking you through all of the things that I collect, which is a lot. Everything from toys, games, books, comics, pins, you name it, I probably have collected it at some point. So I thought the most appropriate place to start the series as the girl who has everything is my mermaid grotto. So I'm going to be taking you through some of my favorite collectibles, including all of my Little Mermaid and just mermaid themed items. And this first inaugural episode is going to be about dolls. We're going to be starting the doll review with my very favorite, most special doll. This is the Ariel and Eric limited edition doll set, Fairytale design doll set from the Disney store. This doll was one of the few that I could not wait in line in person for the store to receive this collection. This is the Fairytale Designer Collection. You could only purchase them from the Disney store. And I didn't really get into doll collecting until just after this doll released, so I missed it, and the aftermarket for this one is ridiculous. So it took me a while, but I was able to get this for my collection. It was made in a limited edition of 6,000. Now, I've never deboxed these dolls in these collectibles, but I will go ahead and lift the cover off so we can get a better view of the details. Okay, so I accidentally told you a fib. I cannot take the cover off this particular doll set. This is back when Disney was making the covers where they were already clipped on to the backboard in several locations, and taking them on and off is nigh impossible without bending the cardboard. That's why I've never deboxed this particular doll. So we'll just take a close look through the plastic. We can see our girl Ariel. She's got the shiniest hair I've ever seen. She has actual eyelashes. I don't believe they're rooted. I do believe the eyelashes on these dolls are glued. This is a take on her Kiss the Girl dress, the blue town dress that she wears. It's got actual embroidery, actual gemstones. This is important to note because later down the line these dolls kind of drop in quality, materials quality, so I want to point it out now. She has this beautiful brocade. I think that's a brocade pattern. She's got lace trim on the bottom of her dress. Eric's got a velour sash, a shirt with gold embroidery detail, and of course, some boots. I'll turn this around a little bit. You can see the really European take. She's got this beautiful twist in her hair with her bow. The hair is very long and luxurious. Every detail is absolutely gorgeous. That's why this is a particularly sought after doll. And now, so originally these retail at about $135, I think, at the store. Aftermarket used to be about $300, so it was very sharky for a while. I haven't even looked to see how much this is worth now. The doll market kind of exploded this year. On to the next one. Disney didn't really start getting into designer doll making until about 2009 with the release of a 17-inch Snow White exclusive doll. It took a few years, and then again in 2015 they came back with the next part of their Fairytale collection. The first part was Princesses and Their Princes, of course, which included Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Ariel and Eric, Aladdin and Jasmine, Mulan and Li Shang, for example. And then they decided to bring the Fairytale collection back, but this time with heroes and villains. I think this was called the Good versus Evil series. So here we can see in the Ariel and Ursula collection. This is the first doll I actually waited in line at the Disney store for release. It was also released in an order of 6,000 dolls made. It also has the same issue with clipping onto the background, so I'm not going to be opening this case, I'm so sorry. But again, we're looking at luxe materials. We've got a beautiful purple sheen on Ursula's skin. I do argue that Ariel is too shiny in this particular doll. They gave her a sheen, I think just to make her match with Ursula, but I don't like it when she's shiny. We have this beautiful leather Ursula outfit with rhinestones, and sequins on the underside of her tentacles. And then Ariel's in this fully embroidered top. I was not a fan of this outfit, but I do love her layered sequin tail. Again, we have actual eyelashes on the doll. And if we go to the side, we can see a little more detail. These dolls are fully articulated too, including joints at the elbows and wrists. So these are great customizable dolls. She also comes sitting on this rock in this one. A lot of people will buy these and one-of-a-kind custom them to be whatever version of the dolls that they like because they're so posable. It's probably the best Ursula they've ever put out to date. Bam! Here we go again. It's 2017 and young Aline is in line in the Disney store again, this time for a new Fairytale collection piece, Ariel and King Triton. This particular branch of the Fairytale Collector series, we've already done Princesses and Their Princes, we've already done Heroes and Villains, so this one it became codenamed the Folktale Collection, where it took scenes from each of the movies to show off, like Moana versus all the Kakamora, and I think Rapunzel when she had Flynn tied up in the chair, and Peter Pan and Captain Hook, for example. So here we can see King Triton with his fully hairy beard and mustache. Of course, his eyebrows are cast in the plastic, but the rest of him is real hair, which is pretty cool. We've got Ariel in what I'm arguably going to say is her worst face sculpt that they've chosen. She looks like she's 10. They definitely accentuated her bust. I do like her custom scale top. She's got too much makeup on for the younger face that they gave her. It's just not an Ariel look to me. This is, of course, the whole, dad coming to destroy her grotto of collectibles moment. They both have the same fabric tail layering. Again, we're looking a little cheaper than the original embroideries and sequins and rhinestones. We're really missing all of that. We have a lot of molded plastic details, like the cuffs on Triton and the trident and the crown, but the quality of materials is starting to shift at this point. Mind you, this is 2017, so it can only go down from here. We do have some rhinestones on Ariel's tail, which is quite enormous, and this one actually came with some sidekicks. All of these in this particular series in 2017 came with sidekick figures, so here we have a very dejected looking Flounder and Sebastian. I do like the detail on King Triton's cape though, but again, the back just all plain. Here you can see the original design art describing the scene. I'm going to back up a little bit. And again, these were still limited to 6,000 pieces. Okay, here we are in 2019 before the world's about to end as we know it. This is absolutely the final doll that I was in line for at the actual Disney store before Disney decided to close down almost every single store they had. We are going to be able to debox this girl and take a closer look. This is a 30th anniversary Little Mermaid 17-inch doll. These are called heirloom dolls. The heirloom doll series are particularly difficult to unbox without ruining your box because they've just got so many layers. We've got the cardboard, we have a plastic overlay. This one's not even a perfectly flat one, it's gem shaped. And we had ribbons tying this one together, really fancy. If you take a look at my Ariel, you'll see somewhere in the manufacturing we had a little snafu. Her hair is supposed to be in her classic bang, but the gel holding it together was very loose. So when I picked her up at the store, she has sort of this over one eye vampy look to her. I absolutely love it and have made no attempts to correct this. In fact, when I was in line for this particular doll, I was waiting in line right before the Disney store opened at my mall. There were other people with me, and fortunately for me, I was the last person in line to be able to receive a doll before they ran out. So I did not get to choose which one I wanted, but I'm happy with the one I got. My friend was working at the store that day, and he said this doll was just destined for someone special since she's so sassy. But she's a beautiful face sculpt. I love the glitter. I love the eyelashes. They are glued. We have this beautiful top with embroidery. It is molded. Not embroidery, I'm sorry. It has rhinestones and a gold chain. A lot of these chains broke on the dolls in the box before they were sold, so I got lucky with one that wasn't broken. Has a little dangle. We have these beautiful drop sleeves. These are beaded. In Japan, it's cool to note that the 30th anniversary dolls in Japan have these pearls right here as these beads instead. So that's how you tell a Japanese doll from the American dolls. She's got beautiful curls with pearls strung through them. I did not release them from box because I'm worried I'll mess them up. We have some bangles with rhinestones, very detailed, lots of articulation. She does not have nail polish on, as most Disney princesses don't. She even has an articulated waist, which is pretty cool, especially for a mermaid. And we have this beautiful, once again, singular sequin tail, lots of individual sequins. The bottom has wire inside, so if you wanted to change the positioning of the tail, you can pose it. And it's covered in rhinestones. She does actually come with her own stand. Not all these dolls came with stands. So that was pretty cool of them to include for 30th anniversary. Yeah, I just think she's absolutely gorgeous, and I'm so happy I have her. Because the other 17-inch doll is very difficult to find. It was made all the way back in, I think 2010, and it's just impossible to get for less than $800, and I just won't spend that on a collectible. I'm sorry. Okay, next up in the limited edition doll category, we have the Premiere Collection. This was a cool series in 2018 where they basically imagined the different Disney princesses and what they would have dressed like if they hit the red carpet for their own movie's premiere. So of course you had Cinderella in her 1950s ball gown, and you had Snow White in sort of like a 30s, not a flapper outfit, but like one of those thinner 30s gowns. And of course, my girl Ariel being out in 1989, it has the Cyndi Lauper look. So I absolutely love this doll. This is the only Ariel doll that I stood in line at the Disney store for and did not get a chance to buy. She sold out just before I was able to purchase one. She has beautiful, beautiful curls. They've traded her signature bang for the other side of her face, which is fine. Here we've got a lot of beautiful details. We got beads, we have sequins, we have ruching, we have this cool 80s neon splatter skirt with layers. It's a high-low, which is really cool. She's wearing fishnets, get it? Ba-dum-bum-bum. She's wearing these really cute shoes with bows. She's got her fingerless gloves on. She's got her bangle bracelets. Girl's got her jelly purse, and she is ready to hit that red carpet. Look at that beautiful purple and blue 80s color. The only thing it's missing is some more extreme blush. They kind of went light-handed on the blush for the 80s look. This doll came out to really mixed reviews. It was limited to 4,500 pieces, and people just hated on her for the longest time. I guess they just weren't into the Cyndi Lauper look, so I was able to snag one at retail cost later on down the line. Now she's a little bit more expensive, but like I mentioned earlier in the video, the doll market has kind of spiked lately in 2021, 2022, so I'm hoping it calms down soon. And what girl in the 80s would be complete without a scrunchie in her hair? Now looking at this doll does remind me to talk about the slip covers. So these dolls, every one of the dolls I've showed you that is a collector's doll comes with a slip cover of some kind. The Fairytale collection had these beautiful slip colors illustrated with the art that I showed you on the back of each box. However, they are currently in storage because I don't want to show the dolls in their covers. So I can't dig them out for you right now, and for that I apologize. The coolest thing about the premiere series slipcovers was that they included 2 pretend tickets to the premiere with the date and release date, a mini poster of what the original movie release poster looked like, and of course your certificate of authenticity. The last doll that I'm going to show you that is officially in the Disney limited edition range of Ariel is this doll. This is part of what they call the Disney Parks Diamond Castle collection. These were released only in the parks. You couldn't get them in just any Disney store. You had to go to the park. This Ariel was released for the 30th anniversary, which was the same year as my release doll. So what is this, 2019, just before the world ended, and it features Ariel in her park dress that she uses to meet and greet with guests, which for whatever reason the park decided is going to be seafoam green. I'm not complaining because I hate and loathe Ariel's pink dress, so green is a much more flattering color. She's a very simple face. She does not have fabric eyelashes. Here's what we're talking about drop in quality. She's got this plastic little brooch, very plain fabrics, just a glitter fabric for her gown. She does actually have some actual embroidery, and again, pointing this out because when we go to the non-limited video, you're going to see a big drop in quality, which of course, you know, also goes with the price point. This doll surprisingly also retailed for the usual $120. So I feel like they were asking a lot. Also, these boxes came famously smashed because, as you can see, it's almost all just the plastic gem shaped. So it's really hard to find one with an intact box. So yes, Diamond Celebration Ariel was limited to 6,000 pieces. She eventually turned up in some of the discount warehouses, but the coolest thing about this doll for me is the fact that I did not pay for her with money. I actually traded collector's pins for her. So a lot of people, if they go to the parks, they'll collect the limited edition release pins and everything. I actually traded a gal a whole bunch of pins to get this doll shipped to me. So it was really cool and it's a neat story. And even though she's not the fanciest doll, I still appreciate her. Okay, as you can see here, 2019 turned out to be a very expensive year for my collecting hobby. That's because it was the 30th anniversary of the Little Mermaid, so they made a ton of merch. This is one of my favorite things to be made for Ariel's sisters. This was released for the Disney store, and it's just a doll set of each of the sisters. But what I like about it the most is that they actually have real hair. Up until then, the figure sets we've had recently were always plastic hair basic figures. These girls have pretty decent tails. I've never taken them out of box because I just love the way that they're all staged. You get all 7 sisters with their tails, with their fabric hair. Ariel's got this cute little cardboard seashell display. Their vanities are in the background. It's like you're in their room. I think it's super cute, and I, for one, will not be unboxing this set. Really cool. So this doll was released in 2020, of course. This was the Holiday Special Edition Ariel. It was released for the Disney store, and while the exact limited release number is not known since it was special edition and not limited to a specific piece number, I'm not sure. However, she's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to take a look at her. Now, most of the limited edition collector's dolls retailed for $120. This retailed at about $50, so you're looking at a half price cut, but look at the quality changes. Here we have an Ariel who still has her beautiful signature bang. She's got lots of curl going on in the back of her box. We do not have glued on eyelashes anymore. They are just part of the paint job. Do have this cute little fur trim. Her dress is sort of that velour texture, but the embroidery has been swapped out for cheap glitter screen printing. Same with the little rhinestones. A lot of them are just glittered up. So there's a few on her gown though. Here she's got a ribbon. Her gown is actually really pretty. I like the brocade. It almost matches that blue dress that we saw in my limited edition set. Again, screen printed instead of embroidery. We do have some rhinestones. It's a pretty long gown. I like the lace detail on the sleeves. That's pretty cute. All in all, not a bad design. They did release one in 2021, which the new princess was Rapunzel for this holiday season. But Ariel still remains my best and favorite, and I only bought her because, well, she really reminded me of that blue dress that I'm really hoping we eventually get a 17-inch limited edition doll for. This is absolutely the pride and joy of my limited edition Ariel doll collection. This is the Little Mermaid on Broadway doll that you could purchase when you went to see the show in New York City. This is meant to look like Sierra Boggess, the girl who originally originated the role of Ariel in the production. She's got a pretty nice makeup job, different face mold than a typical Ariel, but also not Barbie either, which is really nice. She's got these beautiful braids and curls and multi-tone hair, which is cool because it's more like the original Broadway wig. I've never seen a multi-tone hair in a regular Disney Ariel doll. We have our beaded top, lots of detail, lots of really nice, I mean the fabric quality on these dolls is just gorgeous. This is when the Broadway show was still doing what people call the corkscrew tales. The actors were on Heelys, actually specially made high heel versions of Heelys, and they would glide around the stage like they were swimming. And then they had these tail contraptions that would float out behind them on like a corkscrew. And man, reviewers really ripped those costumes to shreds, but I thought they were absolutely gorgeous. I was lucky enough to see The Little Mermaid on Broadway like a month before it closed and picked up this doll myself while I was there. Had I not done that, I don't think this is ever a piece I would be able to obtain for my collection. I never see it pop up online. I've only seen maybe one or two hit eBay over the last, this was maybe 12 years ago. And they were like, oh my gosh, they were like $1,500 to find this doll. So I'm really glad I was there in person and was able to pick up this doll while I did. It is, like I said, it's the pride and joy of my collection, because it's not something I could ever replace, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just a really cool piece of history. This particular doll was a Disney Parks release. It was a doll that you could only purchase from the parks themselves. You can see here the authentic Disney Parks logo. I was lucky enough to be on a trip to the Disney park, I believe Disney World, and this was in 2016. And I picked up this copy of the doll. These are the 12-inch classic doll series. They retail for like 15-20 bucks. They're not too shabby, easy to get a hold of in the Disney store. Although now that they're closed, it's gonna be a lot harder. But every year they would re-release new classic dolls. It's the same outfits with slightly different tweaks to them. The cool thing about this was this is the first time I had seen a Disney Bride version of Ariel in the parks in a while. And as I'm about to show you with the next doll, she differs a lot from the version you could buy in the Disney store. So I'm glad I picked her up while I was there in case they change her edition later. She features the same glitter fabric they're fond of using for these lower level dolls. I do like the fact that they used a blue serging thread because it reminds me of her actual wedding gown, which does have blue edging. She does have the traditional puff sleeves, which you'll see on the 80s Ariel's wedding. She's a pretty little crown, comes with a really neat little royal brush. And yeah, all in all, pretty nice doll. Let's see if there's anything on the back. Oh yes, so here we have Ariel in Tyrulia and in the Magic Kingdom. There's the fountain where you can meet her by in Disneyland. You can actually meet her near Snow White's fountain. And if you actually take a look at the bottom here, it's in French too, because I believe this was also released in Disneyland Paris. So yeah, pretty cool series. Here we have another Ariel Bride doll. This time this is the Disney Store release. I'm not 100% sure at this time what year classic doll this is. If I find out the information before posting, I will definitely put it in the subtitles below. So yeah, these dolls retail for about $16, $17 in the store. I think this one was $17. Yes, they're basically just 12-inch classic Barbie dolls. They're meant less for collecting and more for kids to play with. And they show the different princesses in outfits that are throughout their movies, so they can try not just their traditional peasant outfit or princess outfit, but also things like their bridal outfits or come out once in a while as a special edition. I love, love, love this doll because the top half, this part right here, is exactly like the one in the movie. The ruffles have changed, those are new. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, very different from the park release, which was glittery and a different shape altogether. Of course, I couldn't send Ariel to the altar alone, so I had to pick up the wedding edition of Prince Eric as well. This is another classic doll from the Disney Store, same year. Here's Eric on the back. Retails for 17 bucks. The only difference with him is, the only complaint I have is that his screen printing is crooked, so his buttons and his jacket should be looking straight down, but instead they kind of twist around his torso a little bit. But I love the detail. Granted, he has plastic hair, but he's got his epaulets, he's got his sash, he has his wedding regalia, his tailcoat, and of course his fancy boots with the gold trim. So he's all dressed up with, you know, somewhere to go. Again, for the price point and the fact that these are meant to be mostly played with, it's a really nice doll. And I'm happy they did a wedding edition of Eric and not just his regular outfit. Once again, as part of the classic doll collection, we have a Prince Eric doll, this time in his standard day-to-day wear. This was made by the Disney Store and retailed for about $16.95. You can see Eric has his traditional plastic face. In fact, I think this is the exact same mold that we saw on the wedding doll. Actually, I might be wrong. His smile might be different on this one. He has the satin shirt, cummerbund, pants, and of course, the boots. Very simple doll, meant for playing. I really like him. And here's the art on the back. My opinion needs a Max the dog, though. In 2018, the Disney Store released a new version of their singing Ariel doll. These dolls are sort of like the classic collection dolls. They range at a slightly bigger price. This one retailed for $19.95 instead of $16.95 because, of course, she could sing. Man, I feel like every truck decided to pass by my house right now. Anyway, let's take a look. So this Ariel's got a cute little flower for her hair. I really like her face sculpt. She looks very Ariel and less Barbie. She's got some really pretty hair, a sparkly top with a gem. They went with a very interesting fabric choice for the tail. Rather than green, they went with sort of this holographic purple blue color. And of course, all the girls that sing by
I want to be where the people are.
Twisting their hand.
I want to see dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them? Oh, feet.
Okay, we're hopping over to Mattel for a little bit here. This is actually a Barbie made by Mattel for Disney Princess. This was made as a holiday Barbie for 2013. It was supposed to be a special release for Christmas. We shopped in I don't know how many Toys R Us's at the time because that's where it was supposed to be carried and could not find this doll in stock anywhere. I believe it ended up coming out late for the holiday season. So, Steve actually ended up picking me up one online, and this was one of my Christmas presents in 2013. She's real cute. She's got that Barbie sculpt to her face, so she looks less like Ariel, more like generic Barbie B. But she's got that pretty hair. We have, again, this is the park dress that Ariel would sort of meet guests in at the park. They made it look, I mean, it's not really Christmassy. Nothing about this box really screams Christmas to me, except for maybe the snowflakes on the front, but I kind of like that. I like the idea that it's a doll you could buy someone you love for Christmas, but it's not necessarily like excluded to winter. It came with whatever this is. I believe this is a locket necklace, but I've never taken it out of the box because I feel like this is a pretty cool collectible Barbie. And we can see a nice little photo on the back of what she looks like. Oh, I'm sorry. It is a keepsake seashell ornament. So yeah, Mattel does okay. Again, all their dolls end up looking like Barbie costuming as the different princesses rather than the princesses themselves. Mattel recently just got the rights back now in 2022 from Hasbro. So I'm interested to see if the dolls return to looking like Barbies in cosplay or if they learn from Hasbro and make sculpts for each princess. We'll have to see. So while this set is pretty beat up, it's very near and dear to my heart because this was a Toys R Us exclusive wedding doll set that you can no longer obtain at Toys R Us because, I don't know if you know this, they're all closed. I did pick this up. This was released, I believe, way back in like 2011, but I didn't pick it up till a few years later when we heard the stores were going to be closing. So I don't know if it has like an official piece number of how limited it was. I just know that it's a Toys R Us exclusive from Ariel's World. The wedding set came with that really cool backdrop. That's why I don't take them out of the box. Also for the Toys R Us sticker. We've got Prince Eric with, this is the, I want to say this is the Mattel. Yeah, this is the Mattel set. Sorry, I had to look at the logo. So you can see he's got that like super Joker grin on. And then Ariel, again, is once again looking like Barbie masquerading as Ariel. I do like that they tried to keep it traditional to her movie dress. She has the same shape and puff sleeves with the serger trim, which is nice. At the bottom, they did this weird glitter thing they do with all princess dolls where they put like a middle panel in the skirt. Not a huge fan of that part. I also don't like that the dress is like off-white. It's not white, so that's weird because it doesn't match Eric's regalia, but I do appreciate this set for what it is. My box is a little worse for wear, but there's no replacing it, so I just try to keep it together as much as I can. It's easy open. Okay, this is going to be a one-off because I'm not a huge fan of the series. This is the Disney Animators Collection Dolls. It was basically a collection they put out where animators would reference, you know, their original designs for the princesses, but they were done in this sort of like toddler style. I am not a fan of toddler princesses. I don't collect them, but I needed at least one of these dolls for my overall collection. So here she is. This is Ariel as a tiny, chubby little toddler. She's got this weird little clip for her bang. They still put her in her bra, but she's got that chubby little toddler belly. They all came with like a little plush pillow pal of their sidekicks. So here we have Flounder and, you know, very basic screen printed scales on her tail. Again, not a huge fan of the series. Definitely didn't try to collect any more than this. There are several editions of Ariel that do exist. There's a fancier one I might try to get my hands on, but then I would probably sell this one. Yeah, just not a huge fan. You can see all the animators collection sketches though, which is pretty cool. It's cool for the history of the character. And you know, Glenn Keane was one of the major animators for my era of Disney films, which was late 80s, early 90s. So it's neat to see that they got to contribute to the design. Just not that huge a fan. And here we saw the retail price was originally $24.50. Now for something slightly different. This is a Brass Key Collectibles porcelain doll of Ariel. Brass Key Collectibles was a company. They basically made encyclopedias and other books, but they also made collectibles such as these collectible porcelain dolls. This particular doll boasts a new sculpt for her face. As you can see, she's got those beautiful glass eyes and her eyelashes. This is a porcelain doll. She has a beaded necklace, seashell top. I apologize, the box is a bit worse for wear. I purchased this from a seller on eBay. Oh man, probably back in 2006 when she came out. And she's been in my possession ever since, and I haven't opened her. But I also like just love the details. I love the textures. She's kind of cutesy, but it works for me. She's got a lot of fin down there. She's holding a hand mirror in this edition. Let me try and turn the box here. Yeah, so this was part of Brass Key Collectibles series, and apparently this is celebrating their 25th anniversary. And when I look at the box, it does tell me copyright 2006, so I do believe that is the year it was made. She does come with a stand, as most porcelain dolls tend to do. And of course, if you look at her wrist, she's got a tiny little Brass Key 25th anniversary bracelet, which is pretty neat. These Brass Key Collectibles pop up on the internet all the time. This particular edition I find harder to find than others, but she's pretty neat, and I won't be collecting all the porcelain dolls, nor will I try and hunt the rest of them down. But I do like her, and she's a cool piece for my collection. This box is definitely my worst for wear box. It's sort of stained, and the tape is coming off, and just not in overall good shape, but this doll is pretty cool. It's another one of those Brass Key Collectibles dolls. So it is a porcelain doll. Fun story about this one. I actually picked it up because I was shopping at, I believe, Sam's Club, and this just happened to be there. It's from 2009, so I've owned this one for a very long time. She's got a very similar face sculpt to the other Brass Key Collectibles doll. And the actual hair, eyelashes, and the beautiful hair on her head. Much more simple costume than the 25th anniversary doll. But what was really neat, and unfortunately this doesn't work anymore, is in the store, if you pressed the button, the moon would like sparkle. All the little stars and lights in the box would sparkle. Which is why I've kept the box even though it's in horrible condition, because I just thought it was a cute little setup. She was part of a bigger series called the Celestial Princess Collection, and as you can see here, they released a bunch of other girls, including Jasmine, Cinderella, Belle, Snow White, and Aurora. As we near the end of my Ariel doll collection, we have a really interesting doll entry here. This was a Ariel Disney on Ice doll that you could pick up when you went to see the show. Now, it's not very expensively made. It's pretty cheap. Look at that paint job. I mean, she looks kind of, I don't know, coked out or something. She's got this basic bra, really basic mylar tail, but it was cool. I went to see Disney on Ice in person. The memory of this doll is more than, you know, the actual doll itself as far as value in my collection. So I basically went with a bunch of friends to Disney on Ice, and we all dressed as different Disney princesses, which later on Disney would decide is not allowed for adults. And so as we were traveling around and going to the bathroom and things like that, little kids would come up to us constantly and be like, oh, Ariel, Jasmine, hey. And we would, we didn't want to mess with them. So we just kind of we're like, hi. And we said hello and we were in character. But I think Disney nowadays would have frowned upon it because a year or two later, some people went to the Disney on Ice again as the Frozen sisters, and they made headlines in the local news because they got thrown out for being dressed as Anna and Elsa and trying to meet kids and claiming that they were them. So we got away with it. That's why this doll stays in my collection. Now, I'm not a huge collector of villains. I'm not a huge Ursula person, but I do feel like I need one for the doll collection that isn't in the Fairytale box. So this is Ursula from the Disney Signature Collection, which was originally out in Toys R Us, and I'm not sure if it was exclusive, but that's where I kept finding them. They were in this cool, gem-shaped box, and they were slightly more detailed than, say, a traditional, just regular Barbie. So here we have Ursula. She's got a fabulous face sculpt, actual hair, her seashell necklace, a velour body, but the tentacles have chosen to be like this rubber vinyl product. I do love her display, and I enjoy that she's displayed with one of her eels because I actually played Flotsam in the musical. So Flotsam and Jetsam are kind of dear to my heart, even though I don't really collect Ursula. And the neat thing about the Signature series was they gave you a little background on the character and where they came from. There's a copy of the poster. So yeah, pretty cool doll. I want to say these were maybe $18, $20 when they were in stores. I have not seen the Signature series existing anymore, so I believe they finally ended that line a few years back. So this is the Ariel Aqua Fantasy doll. It was originally released by Mattel as a Barbie collector's item, so the sculpt is a little more Barbie than Ariel, but honestly this is the least offensive out of all of them. I recently purchased this on eBay a few years ago, and it was out of box, so I'm missing pretty much the stand and the accessories and the box, but her fashion design for this outfit is just too pretty to pass up, so I had to have it. She features pearl accents, rhinestones, golden starfish, I mean not real gold, but and this really pretty tail. So altogether, very fashionable girl, had to have her. Really cool. Let's give her a flip over. Look at that collar. Okay, try as I might, this is one of my vintage Ariels from when I was much younger. I've kept this for a long, long time. But as I was saying, try as I might, I cannot seem to find the exact doll in its original packaging that this might be. I think it's one of the early Tycho dolls because they had this really exaggerated face. But I have no idea. She's really cute. I love her hair. She's in a hot mess because she's been, lived and played with for a long time. I keep her because she has her original blue dress, which was, as you can see, very basically made. This is very 80s, doll quality. And I also have her original tail that came with her as well, because as you can see, she does have legs. Now, the only things I can go on for trying to identify her is her stamp. Her back stamp says copyright Disney in China. She has this pink top on, but there's no way of proving that's her original pink top because since this was my childhood doll, I could have changed it 100 times. But I'm going to keep looking. If I find any more information before I post this video, I will post it in the subtitle below. This one was tough because it's borderline between a doll and an action figure in that it has hair and it basically is the size of a doll. However, it's really immobile. It's got this hard plastic fin. And the arms, only movement we have in the arms is they sort of swivel forward at really awkward positions, leaving her shoulder connected in weird places. But she does have an older looking mold, so she is a little vintage. I don't remember where I picked this doll up. I think it was at a yard sale. No details on it, but there you go. She's looking worse for wear. I think she's ready to go to the hair clinic. So after a while, when I started getting into the limited edition doll collecting, I stopped buying every single store Barbie that came out of Ariel because there were just too many, and I didn't need her as a ballerina or, just because she could color change or whatever. I do remember purchasing this one though at a Toys R Us. I'll look up the name of this one, but she is a bejeweled version. She has a crown, but it fell off somewhere in my pile of plush that she was hiding in. She's a necklace, purple holographic top. Interesting that they added this extra skirt around the fin part of the doll, and kind of a really basic, this is one of the cheapest fins I've ever seen. She also came with this cool scepter, which you can actually take apart. And wears a ring. How cool is that? So you can match her with her gem in your ring. Anyway, she's really cute, and she's the only basic store-bought doll I have left that is one of those like generic, doesn't quite look like Ariel molds. After that, I kept sticking to just limited releases or special designs. This is a little one-off, but it's really interesting, so I wanted to include it in my doll video. This doll was not made by Disney, nor was it made before The Little Mermaid came out. This is actually a Vogue doll from 1986. The Vogue dolls were called Ginny. So this is Ginny in her mermaid outfit. 1986 was a really good year. 3 years before Little Mermaid came out. Of course, young Aline was born onto this world. And yeah, Vogue released this Ginny doll in a mermaid costume. Let's get a closer look. She has the traditional blinky baby doll eyes that you would expect from a doll of this time. She's got this really pretty, delicate hairnet fascinator hat. This beautiful little gown with a pearl. She does have feet underneath, little chubby little toddler feet. And she's carrying her little stuffed animal seahorse to keep her company. And you can see all of her curls in the back. This one actually has lasted pretty well. I have owned her, of course, since I was a baby, and she has survived this long with very minimal damage. A little bit of staining on the base, and I mean, the hair looks almost pristine. I've seen a lot of these for sale where the hair is just brushed out and terrible, so I took good care of this doll. But interesting to me that 3 years before The Little Mermaid came out with Disney, here's a red-headed mermaid right now. Okay, the last piece of my Ariel doll collection is actually not a doll, but recently, just before all the Disney stores closed last year, they were doing this really cool series where they made accessory packs for the classic dolls. Those are those $16 dolls I showed you. They're 12 inches, and just like Barbie, they thought, hey, maybe kids might like to dress up their dolls in other outfits. So I had to get this one because it's Ariel's village set, which means I could take off her tail and actually dress her in my favorite gown. Sorry, choo-choo train going by. It's a pretty cool set because it comes with a change of shoes, it comes with her hair bow, it's a little basket with, I believe, bread and things, which she does buy at the market in that sequence in the film. And like this cute little jacket, which didn't appear anywhere as far as I remember, but like, it was a neat set. It retailed for $9.99, so for $10 you could basically get your kiddos some more outfits for the dolls they already had. I like the concept. I think the materials look really cheap, but at the same time, for $10, can you really complain? It's for a toy, not for the collector's edition.